are these people?
Thank you so much to our wonderful corporate overlords, because they got a massive windfall. And of course, as we know, thank you to our friend at Judd Legume, they stiffed workers. So COVID-19 has been a traumatic experience. And you guys would not be such a fan. I'm a big fan of Judd's work. Some of us are. Some people here probably would not be. He's been very much going after the corporations that claim that they were going to abandon the January 6th funders and stop funding Republicans after what happened January 6th, and they continue to. And he's been calling that out and calling out that hypocrisy, which is great because I love calling out corporate hypocrisy. And again, this segment is owed to Kira over at Hardlands Media, who's now joining Chicago Corner. I guess she's leaving the Hardlands show, moving to Chicago Corner. But she always did a segment on her show called Corporations Behaving Badly. That was always one of my favorites. So I wanted to cover this. There are two articles here on corporations behaving badly. There is, first of all, what's happening, of course, with COVID relief, and then what's happening with the fossil fuel industry and using Ukraine as a tool to ramp up their profits as well. So, pandemic has created an unprecedented windfall in record profits, as we know. They wouldn't have materialized without frontline workers. And here we go. Brookings Institute. Not exactly the greatest place to put out studies that I theme, and it certainly is biased towards the Democratic Party, I will certainly admit. However, they've also done studies on corporations. So of 22 major ones, they generated an additional $1.5 trillion in wealth for shareholders between January 2020 and October 2021. 57 times more than the additional wages provided than provided to the workers. Look at this.
Jeez.
That's a ridiculous chart.
Ridiculous.
Jesus.
And it tells
I'm not at
you,
all surprised either. Like, it's weird that I'm not surprised.
I love that it's by corporation. Like he just blatantly lays it out, right? Exactly how much of the share. And look who your biggest share is. It's Amazon and it's Home Depot. All right. Oh, that's interesting. Costco, which traditionally has taken very good care of its workers. However, okay, they employ about 7 million workers. These workers collectively received $27 billion in additional pay during the first 7 quarters of the pandemic, which sounds like a lot, but it amounts to about $3,700 per worker, or less than $1 an hour increase for a full-time employee. Conversely, the richest 5% saw their wealth increase by $140,000 per family due to the rising stock prices of these companies during the market. Yow.
Yeah, man. I don't know if you've seen. There's a new article out by Matt Taibbi where he's working with Matt Orfalea, talking about how there's a bunch of
Orfalea.
Yeah,
There's a Greek goddess name. Greek goddess.
I have to send that to Orf.
Yeah, Matt Orfalea.
What's up, Orfalea? Yeah, what they're talking
Orphelia.
about though is this exact same thing, but with like the weapons contractors,
the defense contractors,
and how they're linked to a bunch of people that are like on TV or political pundits who are like forcing the war. And I'm actually going to do a story on it probably in the next couple of days. I thought that was a great article. I don't have the specifics in front of me, but you did already
to it on INN News last week. We had Tara and Colin and Lucy showed up later.
I missed it, but yeah, I'm going to cover it anyway too. But because that was a fantastic article.
Yep. There's a video, just devastating.
Also went on with Steve from Slow News Day. I think to talk about it.
Yes, he did. Eric,
which is killer.
Eric's in the show. Great.
Love to get you on the show. You know.
Yep, we do love Orf. Yeah. And Orf's welcome. Yes. I'm a Patreon Orf.
Yeah, the undisclosed. It's bad. Go watch the video. It's 6 minutes of like rapid fire example.
Just murder. Weapons. Patriot missiles, Stinger missiles, this one. And here's their conflict of interest that MSNBC and CNN and these people never disclose. I think it's just basically straight MSNBC.
For only $9.95.
I mean, it's Earl Scheib.
1-800-323.
But again, you're talking about 12 major corporations that won the pandemic, right? So you got Albertsons, Amazon, Costco, CVS, Dollar General, FedEx, Home Depot, Kroger, Lowe's, Target, UPS, and Walmart. All businesses that benefited from the shift to eating at home, shopping online, And as the pandemic wanes, they're poised to continue to benefit from permanent shifts in consumer behavior. Great reset, anybody? What? Oh, sorry, I didn't say that. Sorry, YouTube. Yeah. Sorry, YouTube. Oh, yeah, we're on Rockfin. That's okay.
Well, you're supposed to blow into the cartridge before the reset. You know?
Right. So, over $56 billion, a 45% profit increase over the 7 quarters. Very little of this extra cash made its way into the hands of workers. Oh, man. So this is kind of a guess, like, because we knew this was happening, but this is specific to the numbers. All right. Again, here, Kroger was one of the worst, we know, right? They did this pandemic emergency wage, and then they squeezed all the workers, and they cut those wages back, and they cut their hours, and they cut them just to 31 hours so they wouldn't be able to get benefits on top of it, so that if they got sick, they didn't have to pay them anything, and they could basically cut them. Right? Due to inflation, increase in real wages was quite small. Their average hourly wage went from 15 to 16 and a quarter. That's an 8% increase. Only 1% increase in wages due to inflation. And what was there? Windfalls. 45% increase in profit year over year. Thanks for really taking care of those workers with a temporary wage increase. This is not materially improving their working conditions. This is not improving their benefit structures. This is not giving them paths to growth or to promotion.
Well, imagine you're a manager and you have to tell the person who's starving, who really appreciated the crumb you gave them, that it's temporary.
Right.
Yeah.
That you have to take it away at some point.
Yeah, and let's not mention like an 8 to 9% increase in inflation over the last 7 months as well. So like even if they had given them tremendous benefits and a raise, it still wouldn't keep up with inflation. So wages are effectively, with inflation being what it is, wages are effectively like nosediving right now because of the pandemic.
I mean, to a point, still, this inflation problem, you can't. As much as everyone wants to pin it on Biden and Biden administration's policies, these are the results of the policies of the Trump administration coming home to roost as well. I mean, all the money that we hemorrhaged, all the programs that we cut, all the things that happened during then, these, you're getting the ancillary effects on top of the fact that the Biden administration, nothing is fundamentally changing. So it's just bad on top of bad. So, what are the corporate priorities? All right. Small percentage of Americans benefit from rising stock prices. Right, but they do control how much they spend their own money, and they spent $49 billion on stock buybacks during the first 6 quarters of the pandemic. They should not have been able to buy $1 back of their own stock to inflate the price of that stock during the pandemic. That's just insane.
Well, stock buybacks really shouldn't even be legal. Stock buybacks shouldn't even really be legal.
It used to not. Thank you, Ronald Reagan.
Because it incentivizes this behavior.
All right. If those funds had been diverted to worker pay instead, companies could have increased wages by almost 40%. That would have materially changed people's lives. I mean, that's just remarkable.
Can you imagine?
Amazing. They had the power to, again, and these are, look, the corporate executives, they're all trying to get promoted, but employee satisfaction
are like in the hundreds of percent.
Yeah, but employee satisfaction right now in the corporate workplace is just as important as customer satisfaction, if not more. And yet, when you get down to these levels, they just don't give a crap. I mean,
nope.
And here, it doesn't have to be. Why would they?
It costs money to give a crap.
All right, here. Workers, at least white men, used to share in company success through higher wages, and in the 3 success. Now there's nobody sharing here. But in the late 70s, economic productivity and worker pay diverged dramatically. In the subsequent 3 decades, productivity has risen much more than 3 times as much as compensation. Instead of boosting pay for the average worker, increased productivity drove greater compensation for highly paid corporate employees, higher company profits, and higher shareholder returns. Again, this is from the Brookings Institute. This is from a neoliberal institute. Even they can't hide it. All right. So, Business Roundtable. We've talked about the Business Roundtable, and Judd has been ripping the cover off the Business Roundtable and their conflicts of interest. where they were talking about Build Back Better while funding ad campaigns to undermine it in specific districts of Congress people where it was influential. All right, this guy's freaking, he's good. He's really good. And he follows the money. And that's what I love, people who follow the money and call out the corruption. All right. Statement that corporations don't exist merely to generate. Okay, that says that they don't. All right. Rather, they're committed to all stakeholders, including customers, employees. And that's correct, except that they're not equally dividing the profits and the results among their stakeholders. And it's only looking to move away from shareholder primacy.
Well, and like I think the stat is like 80% of all stocks are owned by the top 10% of the country. So you're again skewing it towards the top 10% at best, and the bottom 50% owns less than 1% of stocks. So you're not helping the working class and certainly not the working poor with any of that stuff. So
yeah, this is about the Business Roundtable and what they've done and how they changed their shift to promote an economy that serves all Americans, right? All Americans that are wealthy corporations or serve them.
As you know, Citizens United says that corporations are people.
That's right. And so does Mitt Romney. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, dude, that was a fucking... Oh, dude,
corporations are people too, my friend. My friend. Corporations are people too. All right.
Did you see Mitt Romney recently came out? He's like, dude, what are we going to do if we forgive all the student loan debt? It's going to just ruin the economy. I'm like, dude, you don't understand how the economy works. And it's weird that you come out and are talking about how students who have to like spend their entire lives after they got an education in indentured servitude. It's weird that you're calling them out when you make like what? $20 million a year off your stock portfolio.
Right.
Like, no one does less to earn more money than you.
It's unreal. So there was one other
that Mitt Romney was using the word dude.
Was he? I know, dude. His kids went to school at Cranbrook in Michigan, which is near where I'm from. If you don't know anything about Cranbrook, it's the song, or in the end of 8 Mile, where he's talking about how Clarence goes to that rich school. Yeah, Cranbrook costs like $30,000 a year per kid to go to that high school. That's where Mitt Romney's kids go. My man he spends more on his kids' high school education than most people spend on their college education. And he's going out and talking about how these people that have, $100,000 in student loan debt are, they need to pay that off when he can easily pay off a $120,000 high school education for his kids.
Clarence parents have a real good marriage.
He didn't go to PS 109. Oh,
no, definitely not.
Your brain is filled with random quips of 8 Mile movies and
that's me.
Yes, it is. Well, he was talking about Robert, but yes, Rob too.
Nice to meet you.
Yep, I think there's a lot of those. I couldn't
remember those lyrics to save my life. Like,
oh, dude, I could spit.
Remember the lyrics to the end of 8 Mile.
Dude, I could spit out that whole close. Are you kidding?
If you need to phone a friend, phone me. Phone me.
Rob and I'll tag team on that shit. A heartbeat. That's great. Love it.